The IRS bias against Tea Party groups. That's disgusting. Farm subsidies, Benghazi, corporate welfare, the minimum wage. It's all disgusting. I could go on 100 times. In fact, I could probably get to 200. But government computers scanning everybody's phone records to see patterns that might lead to terrorists? I'm conflicted about that. Judge Andrew Napolitano says I shouldn't be. I should be furious. So educate me.
I think you should be furious because you believe that we have natural rights that come from our humanity, among which is the right to be left alone, to preserve the right to be left alone, the right to privacy.
You want to be left alone by terrorists.
You also want to be left alone by the government, because if the government doesn't leave you alone, you will have no privacy. And people do not behave normally, naturally, or to their full extent when they're being watched by the government and then need the government's permission. When the government knows every phone call we make, from where we make the call, to whom we make the call, how long the call was, where they were, and can plug that into their algorithms, they can predict all kinds of behavior about us, and they're not entitled to any of it under the Constitution without a search warrant.
And I still just don't personally feel the threat. I give up all this private information, much more, to Google and Facebook.
But you do so willingly. You
True.
can decide not to deal with Google
Government
and
is
Facebook.
force.
Correct.
Facebook and
correct. Government is force. Now you're coming around, John. You cannot avoid the government.
Already there.
Right, right. Of course you're already
and
there.
Facebook can't lock me up or assassinate me.
Correct. And the
but my information's out there.
Can.
So
Look,
when you say they can look at all this, I figure there's some pimply kid just intercepting it in the air as it ships
Your
through.
information is not out there.
It's flying through the air, these electronic waves. Don't you assume Media Matters is hacking some of your information?
But Media Matters does not protect me from the government. The Fourth Amendment does. Media Matters, just like Fox News, just like Google and Facebook, are free to do things that the government is not free to do. That's why we have this Fourth Amendment, to keep the government out of our bank books and out of our bedrooms and, frankly, John, off our backs. Which is worse? That a renegade former spy divulge the truth about government law-breaking, or that government officials lie about what he exposed?
And picking up on your which is worse theme for something else, I have anger fatigue. Is this worse than our $17 trillion debt, than the drug war, than what we've done to American Indians, and so on?
I don't know if it is worse than that, but it could lead to something that's worse than that.
Could lead the slippery slope.
Yes, of course, to the slippery slope. I mean, a single phone call in the computer of a single spy is innocuous. But all of our phone calls in there, revealing everything about ourselves, exposing our innermost thoughts and behavior to the government, will eventually turn us into East Germany, where the government knows who did wrong, and the government knows who did wrong, and the government prosecutes people who didn't squeal on their neighbors. In the last 5 years of that society, the most frequently prosecuted crime was the failure to turn in one's neighbor. Do we really want that society here? That's what this will bring us to.
We do not. But then, what do you say about two respected libertarians? You know who they are. I assume you respect them. Richard Epstein and Roger Pilon wrote, the critics would be more credible if they could identify a pattern of government abuses. But after 12 years of continuing practices, they can't cite even a single case.
They are both friends of mine and friends and colleagues of yours, and we disagree profoundly. If seizing the private thoughts of every American is not a pattern of government abuse, I don't know what is. Think of it this way. The government's powers derive from the consent of the governed. Did you consent to this? Do you know anybody on the planet who consented to this?
People, the terrorism fear is overblown, but people who are frightened consent to this.
They can consent to it for themselves, but not for the rest of us. Thank you.
Here's what our president said in response to criticism about the NSA spy.
And if people can't trust not only the executive branch, but also don't trust Congress and don't trust federal judges to make sure that we're abiding by the Constitution, due process, and rule of law, then we're going to have some problems here.
It's an absolute canard. After Benghazi, the Associated Press, the Rosen affair, and the IRS, nobody trusts this administration. And who would trust Congress when they, like Senator Wyden, whose heart is in the right place, were told what the NSA was doing but took an oath not to reveal it? And who would trust these federal judges who've granted 99.6% of every application sought
who else do
before
we
them.
have for oversight but Congress and these federal judges?
Transparency. When the public knows what's going on, the government will be afraid to trample our rights. The government has created a bizarre system of secret courts and secret information to the Congress. Congressmen know about it. They can't tell anybody about it. They can't vote about it.
Spying. It's based on secrecy. I mean, maybe we shouldn't do any spying.
They can spy on foreigners all they want. But I didn't authorize the government to spy on me, and you didn't authorize this government to spy on you.
No, I did not. But I wonder if there's not some justification in NSA spying. Thank you, Judge. I'll keep trying to learn from you and others. Up next, often Big Brother